Alright, everybody. Hello, welcome. I'm the Dependent Fanatic, and I took exception to someone that commented on one of my posts on another channel. I think it was Field of 68 about Kentucky. And this Kentucky guy plainly said, I forgot Michigan had a basketball program. I have to enlighten him and every one of you out there that is watching right now, because Michigan absolutely has a basketball program, and it goes back to John Beilein when he came here. Of course, there were legends like Johnny Orr and Cassie Russell. Cassie Russell built Chrysler Arena. He won the National Player of the Year. Trey Burke, after that, won National Player of the Year. The Fab Five, though, after those two, were awesome, but they never won anything. Michigan was still in its infancy. We have just been born as a program, I'm telling you right now. With the first national title coming in 1989. I wasn't even born yet. So this is what Michigan is doing right now is amazing. And you should not forget about Michigan's program. And I will put this Kentucky person in his place on who is the better program over those years. And let's not forget that Kentucky gets to play in the SEC. Michigan plays in the Big Ten, where there's actual grindage. It's not about freshmen and who's the most talented in the Big Ten. Not ever. It will never be that way. Fab Five couldn't do it, and Coach Krzyzewski said it would never happen until he did it with freshmen later. But I digress. It's not going to happen very often. You go pay all those players all that money, and let's see. You had some good seasons, Kentucky, under John Calipari. We'll get to it. But Michigan's record since John Beilein came in 2007 and 2008 season, Michigan's accomplishments are the best that we've had ever. In the regular season, Michigan won 3 Big Ten titles since John Beilein came in. 3 of the 4, I believe. 2012, 2014, and 2021. 2 of those were from John Beilein. Tournament titles. 2017, 2018, and 2025. 2 of those were from John Beilein, one of our most recent coaches. Now we'll get to Juwan Howard, the former Fab Five center that took Beilein's talent over after John wanted to try his hand at the NBA level at Cleveland. I don't blame him for that. I wish he would have stayed. He should have stayed. But the guy had never been an assistant coach in his life. He won everywhere he went. Why not try the NBA? Problem is, he didn't have LeBron at Cleveland at that time. So, I would have never went. They were rebuilding. He should have stayed. But anyway. Michigan basketball is amazing. John Beilein revived the program and made 9 national tournaments, NCAA tournaments, not at the NIT variety. He made 9 national ones. And of those, he went to 5 Sweet 16s. He went to 3 Elite 8s. He had 2 national runners-up. 1 to Louisville, who vacated their wins due to cheating, and we should have won that one anyway. Go back and watch. Trey Burke blocked that shot. It shouldn't have been a goaltend late in that game. And that gave Louisville a lead, and they won. It should not have been that. But I digress. Villanova beat Michigan in the other national championship game that we've been in the last few years, and they won fair and square in 2018. Then Juwan Howard, former Fab 5 center, took Beilein's talent over. Howard won in his first year, kind of. It was that COVID year. Then he continued to go to an Elite 8 in his second year, which was good. Brought in some talent, but it was terrible overall. He lost every year after that, more and more, until it was an 8-win season for Michigan. Not good. Very recently, that was not good. It's a terrible situation all around that is reminiscent of the football program for Michigan under Sherrone Moore. You took a beautiful thing and ruined it. And it just so happens, I'm not going to get into the race thing or anything. Every person deserves to be judged individually, regardless of race. Both of them were terrible. So, enter Dusty May. And Dusty May talked with John Beilein. John Beilein endorsed Dusty May, and he could be making a Beilein top to bottom resurgence for Michigan yet again in 2 seasons, going from 8 wins under Juwan's last season to 27 wins last year, and now undefeated, possibly. Guys 11-0, beating teams by 40 points. On average, we're beating teams by 29 points per game this season. How is this not a good basketball program? Let me know, Kentucky fan. Michigan basketball is here to stay. Let's just go over what Michigan has done and Kentucky has done, because this Kentucky fan pissed me off, and so here we go. It was Beilein's first year in 2007-2008, after taking over for Tommy Amaker, and before that, another dud. Michigan went 10-22. Kentucky, under Billy Gillispie, had a first-round ousting in the NCAA tournament in that year. In 2008, John Beilein went 21-14 and had a second-round loss. Kentucky lost in the NIT quarterfinal that season. In 2009, it wasn't good for Michigan. They went 15-17. It was a total, revamping of the program under Beilein. He got an opportunity to do that a couple of times until he left. He was great. In that same year, Kentucky went 35-3. And Calipari and his freshmen that he brought in, all those one and dones, did pretty good. But they only made it to the Elite 8 coming out of the SEC, which was a terrible conference at the time. The next year, he went to the Final Four, where Michigan went to the Sweet 16. And then the next year after that, he got a couple of those freshmen to stay, and they won the national championship, going 38-2. Whereas Michigan had a second-round loss in the NCAA tournament, going 24-10. In 2012, Michigan went 31-8 and was national runners-up to Louisville. Should have won it. Kentucky was losing in the first round of the NIT that same season. In 2013, Michigan made it to the Elite 8 at 28-9. Kentucky was 29-11 and was the national runner-up. Worst record, better result. And then in 2014, Michigan had to reset, going 16-16. As I aforementioned, this same year, Kentucky went 38-1 and did not get the undefeated season. They lost in the Final Four. All those freshmen, like Coach K said, are not going to win you a national championship. Only he can do that. And he's gone. You know, UCLA hasn't done shit since John Wooden. Duke is the recent power under Coach K. He's gone. Connecticut won a couple under their new coach, and a guy before that. They recently have 3. Kentucky is the other program. But Michigan is the new kid on the block. Even after the Juwan Howard era, and we'll get to that. But in 2015, Michigan went 23-13 and had a first-round loss in the tournament. Kentucky had a second-round loss. In 2016, Michigan made the Sweet 16. Kentucky made the Elite 8, going 32-6. Again, out of the SEC. It's not as good as the Big Ten. In 2017, Michigan went 33-8 and were national runners-up yet again. Lost to Villanova and Jay Wright and his 2 national title teams out of 3 years. Kentucky made the Sweet 16. In 2018, Michigan made the Sweet 16 and lost, going 30-7. Kentucky also went 30-7, but made the Elite 8. Now, Calipari's still there for Kentucky. And Michigan, Juwan Howard came in. Juwan Howard came in after Beeline left for the NBA. And Michigan went 19-12, but this was the COVID year, so it didn't matter. There wasn't any postseason. Kentucky went 25-6, didn't matter, no postseason. In 20, Michigan went 23-5 and made an Elite 8, and Kentucky went 9-16 with no postseason at all, not even an NIT appearance. They were that bad. Don't worry, Michigan will get there. In 21, Michigan made the Sweet 16 at 19-15. How that happened, I have no idea. But how did Kentucky lose with a 26-8 record in the first round of the tournament? That's not good. Is that a good program? In 22, Michigan went 18-16 and had an NIT loss. Kentucky went 22-12 and had a second round loss in the NCAA tournament. And then Michigan bottomed out with an 8-24 season. They had no postseason at all. And Kentucky went 23-10 and lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament. You guys ousted Calipari. We ousted Juwan Howard after that same season. Last season, Michigan went 27-10. Dusty May went from 8 wins to 27 wins in year 1. We made it to the Sweet 16 in his first season. Mark Pope made it to the Sweet 16 in his first season too, going 24-12. Worse record than Michigan. Michigan now this season so far is 11-0 and destroying people and beating them like crazy. Kentucky is 9-4. They're not undefeated. And the SEC is getting better nowadays, but the Big Ten has always been good throughout this. Michigan just beat LaSalle 102-50. And it's LaSalle, I understand, but it's Michigan's 5th time in the last 6 games scoring 100 or more. But more importantly, no one can score on this team as Michigan won 102 to 50. 50 points allowed. They held LaSalle to 13 points in the last 17 minutes of that game. And Michigan's backups scored 17 points in the last 5 minutes of that game to get 100. Howard Isley Jr. drilled Michigan's last bucket to get them over 100. They were 99. He hit a 3. Good for him. He did miss free throws, though, and that's one concern for Michigan. If anyone does get close to Michigan in any of these games, free throw shooting could be a hindrance. But, man, that guy just pissed me off, saying Kentucky's so much better. You have one national title over this time. We have 2 runner-ups. Records are the same. Postseason, better for us. Regular season, better for you. And, you know, the NCAA tournament, March Madness, seeding and everything. Football's going to this where, you know, we need to figure out what matters more. Strength of schedule or wins in seeding of this. But, man, Michigan's right there with Kentucky. Duke. We're going to play Duke, Michigan is, in February in this regular season. So I can't wait to see that. They just took their first L. Dusty May has this program going. Kentucky fans can go shut up and suck my dick. Michigan is just born. Kentucky has how many national titles? 7? 8? Do you claim 8 national titles? We only claim 1. But we're a baby. We just got started when Beeline revived this fucking program. So watch out. Watch out. Tides are shifting.